But first to politics. Republicans making a big push to take back the Senate this November, and they're starting now. Welcome to this hour of Happening Now. I'm Jenna Lee.
And I'm John Scott. New polls show Democratic seats in states like Colorado, Iowa, and Michigan are having closer than expected races, at least right now. Meanwhile, some Republican senators are facing divisive primaries. Democrats are seen as vulnerable in the general election on issues like the troubled Obamacare rollout and the sluggish economy. The Senate is now split, with Democrats in control at 53 seats. Republicans have 45. Two independents in the Senate caucus with the Democrats. Joining us now to analyze the upcoming midterms, Elise Viebeck, writer for The Hill. Elise, we could attribute all of this to the troubled Obamacare rollout, but you say there's more to it than that.
That's true. Of course, everyone knows the story of the botched rollout of Obamacare, which took place over fall. Certainly, Republicans gained many points among general election voters because of that debacle. And there are many Democratic candidates who suffered as a result of the White House's struggles. But I think it's important to note that while President Obama really did take a beating as a result of the health care rollout, his numbers were already starting to drag at the beginning of last year as a result of issues like Syria, and particularly the spying that's occurring by the NSA. And so it's not just the rollout of Obamacare. The White House has a lot of different issues to attend to if it wants to present Democrats with the kind of coattails that they're desiring for the midterm elections.
There would be a couple of more, at least, Republican senators in the body right now, except that the candidates they fielded last time around in states like Missouri and Indiana basically shot themselves in the foot with some comments that were not well received. How do Republicans avoid that same kind of fiasco this time?
Yeah, you make a very good point. You're referring to Richard Murdoch and Todd Akin, the two GOP candidates that were seen as losing very winnable elections as a result of their comments that were very divisive with independent voters, particularly women. And I think the GOP is taking many steps to try to train its candidates better in how to speak to voters in order to avoid that kind of debacle. Certainly, they want their general election candidates, even if they do hail from the Tea Party and tend to hold stronger opinions on certain issues, they want to keep them on message, keep them talking about Obamacare, keep them talking about the economy, which, while it's improving, it still hasn't reached many homes, many pocketbooks. And so I think certainly there's a lot of momentum for Republicans, but it's possible that there are some candidates out there that could still shoot themselves in the foot, and that's bad for the GOP.
In a lot of these races, it all comes down to money, who can raise the most. So which side has the advantage there?
Currently, Democrats tend to have the advantage. They've had very strong fundraising seasons, and certainly the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee is out there touting its fundraising numbers all the time. They really feel like they have an edge. And we know that even if Republicans have momentum in terms of the issues right now, in many races it is a money game. If you have a candidate that's very well funded, they can help counter attacks from the right. And so right now that is one feather in Democrats' hats, but certainly it's going to be a long campaign season, and there are other issues that could come up to put those candidates on the spot.
Is that where President Obama can come in handy? Because there are, Democratic senatorial candidates like Kay Hagan in North Carolina who seem to be avoiding appearing with the president. But if the president, you get an invitation to a fundraising dinner at some thousands of dollars a plate with the president and maybe get your picture taken with him afterwards, that can fill the Democratic coffers pretty quickly.
It can, certainly. And you also make a good point. There are a lot of Democratic candidates out there right now who are avoiding appearing too closely with President Obama because they know that there are GOP campaign ads being cut right now that are linking them to the president, who remains so unpopular, particularly with independents. But in terms of the fundraising circles, many of those overlap. So there could be people who are associated with President Obama who contributed to some of his strong fundraising in the last election who want to now help out these Democrats without necessarily making the direct link to the White House.
Elise Viebeck on a snowy day in Washington. You're at work today, right? The government's mostly closed, but you're working.
I am working. Yeah, I'm sorry about your flight, John.
Yeah,
Too bad.
I'm still working on a backup. Elise Viebeck, thank you.
Thank you.